life stories. I'm sharing them on Twitch. So what I say, I went to a cosmetic shop because I just had to buy some kind of, I don't know, like toothpaste, like toothbrush, like some basic stuff that I wanted to get. And in Spain, it was in the center of Barcelona, in the very touristic place, huge amount of people. And it just like was like crawling around the shop. I was like, okay, what is going on? And somehow, I don't know why, some shadow, some little box of the shadow called my attention. And I was like, I will take a look on this. It's curious. What is this? And I checked the shelf with the cosmetics because I want to see what's inside of the box with the shadow, but I don't know if I can like open it. Okay, so when I'm looking into the like all of the shadows that are presented, and I'm looking where is written probador, which in Spanish would be a tester. So I would try to understand whether I could open it or not. And actually, it was like all of the boxes in the lines, had the sticker tester, like placed next to those. And I picked up the box, and I was like, and it was a little bit like it was a sticker. I need to say the sticker was super dirty. The sticker was obviously opened already, and I just like started to but because I saw that this is just a package that they decided to be tester, and they are all in line in the first product. So I was like, first product is a tester. And the moment when I just place it in and like open it, a girl, a Spanish girl, jumping on me out of the corner, and she literally, I will not exaggerate, she starts to scream, and she's like, in Spanish, of course, in Spanish. She's like, you need to pay for me for this. You need to pay. She's like grabbing the box with the shadow out of my hand. She's running to the cashier, like to the stand where you pay. And she's like, I will leave it for you. You will not leave the shop without buying it because you spoiled it. And I'm like, what have you done? And I was like, and she was screaming. And of course, I speak Spanish. I can, so I was like, ¿qué ha pasado? Pero yo pensaba que es probador, pero mira, pone que es probador. So I mean, in Spanish, I was like asking what happened because I saw that this is a tester, and she was like screaming and shouting at me like, no, pero tú lo has abierto, tú vas a pagar, tú lo tienes que pagar, tú lo deberías pagar, tú no puedes hacer eso. She was like super aggressive. And I am, even though that I think that I'm very, I think I'm very emotional and I'm very like friendly, open person. I think that I never, like I'm quite controlling myself in this kind of situation person. And the only thing that because she was so aggressive, and my first thought was like, oh my God, like I was like, fuck, I actually screwed it. I actually spoiled something. It's so bad. And I was like, oh yeah, I really need to pay for it because I behaved so badly. Like I didn't know I messed up. And then I'm looking at all those testers, like boxes and next, like etiquettes, place testers. And I was like, but how could I know that there's no tester because it says tester? And I was like, can you check because it says that it's tester? And she grab like a little tiny slice under the shelf, and she's like sliding it from the shelf. It's like a little tiny placa in Spanish, we would call it. She slided it like, testers son aquí, and she showed me, but there were no testers. It was an empty shelf, so it was all everywhere written testers, and there were no testers. Story from the supermarket. Oh my God. So I was like, yeah, and there is still no testers, so I got confused. But she didn't, and I speak Spanish, and I was like speaking Spanish, and I understood that I'm losing because 3 more girls came to the shop. They surrounded me, and they started to be like, no, tú tienes que pagar, tú vas a pagar esta caja, tú vas a pagar. And I was like, fuck. Like, it's so unfair. First of all, that they are screaming, and I was like, can you not scream at me, please? Because it's like, I'm just like, it's not. And then I realized that they touched my balls a lot. And I was like, Now we're gonna fight with you. And if I say this, and I have this personality that I'm very soft, I'm very friendly, but if I got up to the limit, I'm fighting, or I die or I win. Like I live like this my life. Like, so they touched me so much that I'm like, okay, girls, and I'm like, now you're all in a big trouble. First of all, I'm picking up my phone and I was like, step out, I'm calling the police. Like, I'm calling the police now. They're going to decide whether I should pay or not. And I'm like super calm. I'm like a Jackie Chan. Like, I'm very concrete with my moves and I'm very calm. And they're like, blah, 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 screaming and shouting on Spanish. And then I'm like, okay, I will not pay. This is number one. Now, I'm going to leave out through the door if you will not call the police. If you want to call the police now. And because they are screaming and shouting, and this was like the moment when I was like, what is going on in Spanish? And of course, I'm not native speaker in Spanish still. And this moment, I'm like doing my very favorite trick. And I'm saying to them, let's switch to English. And I want to put all of us on the same condition. None of us is going to speak our native language. And I'm going to hear how you're going to scream and shout on me on English. And that moment, the girl that she was screaming and shouting on me, she was like, joder, pero habla español. And I was like, I'm the winner. So I was like, do you want to call the police? And she was like, habla español. And I was like, no, I'm not. And she was like, oh, joder. The other girls just disappeared. The moment when I was like, oh, you need to speak English. They just disappeared, vanished away. She just picked up my box and she said, no voy a meter yo contigo. And I was like, and you should not. Okay? Like, lucky you that I was not calling the police. Because in the end of the day, what do I think? Because I processed this situation after, and luckily I was super tired. That's why I was like super calm. But after proceeding this situation, I was thinking that probably it was a trick how to get money out from the tourists, because they placed the labels everywhere that it's a probador, tester. There were no tester at all. She was obviously monitoring me, any kind of movement that I was doing. She jumped out only the moment when I was trying, and the etiquette in this box was so dirty, and it was so obvious that someone already opened it, that it was very, I would doubt if someone would want to buy that dirty stuff. So the moment that I touched, she already jumped on me, and she was like so aggressive, and she was like, so you will pay. I already leave it for like there for you. You will pay. You will not out. So I was thinking that basically probably this all was already well prepared for tourists to pay extra. And because they don't know how to, and of course, because they don't know how to protect themselves on Spanish, right? Because like, what can you answer? Like, and most likely, just for the grocery item. But I wasn't like, it was strange. But I think it was all played. Like I felt that it was all prepared, and the way how all the girls were approaching me, like they all knew what is going on. I think it was a scam of foreigners. It's pretty much the things that are happening in Spain for me, because I have very Slavic face. I know it. Doesn't matter that I live in Spain for 10 years. It's constantly happening to me. Even if I go and buy a bottle of water, a lot of times I know that the price for me is higher just because of the face. Because if I'm like this, people think that, oh, I'm probably a rich tourist or something. I don't know. But yeah, and I was thinking about how goodly I used the trick and how I managed to, like maybe to protect myself. I was super proud of myself after, not to pay for things that I should not pay. And actually, that's very interesting, because they screwed it all so much. I'm that kind of person that I'm most likely to pay, especially if I'm most likely to help. I'm most likely to pay if I have a very I'm very human in this sense. So my first reaction was like, oh my God, I did something bad. Oh yeah, I need to pay. This was my first reaction. And I got this annoyed only because she was screaming. So if she would come to me and she would say, you know what, you just opened the box and you got mistaken and it's not the box that you're supposed to open. So most likely you would need to buy it now. I'm 99% sure that I would say, oh yes, of course, I'm sorry for doing this. But because she was like, "No me vas a because she was screaming at me that much, and I said, can you not scream? And she was like, no, it's you rude, it's not me rude. I was like, no. And then I realized that when they have the conversation with me, they just think that I'm just like a turista, stupid tourist or whatever, so they can say whatever they want to me. And it was just actually evilly saying, it was a pleasure for me to see her face when I was like, let's switch to English. And this joder, when she was like, joder, they were totally wrong. Maybe it was planned. Exactly, Adil, I think it was planned because I don't even think that other people, if they, like, a lot of times, I had it actually once in a shop, I broke the glass. I was looking, I wanted to buy it, I broke it. So I paid for 2 and I actually suggested, they were saying to me, no, you should not. But I was like, I feel so bad. So it's not, I don't have like problems with this, right? It's just that they were obviously attacking. So it was not for this, and I'm pretty much sure it was maybe €4 box. It's not something. But I also felt like we all know this kind of shops, right? A huge amount of people think about that this was the most touristic place in Barcelona. It's basically where you barely can walk fast because the amount of people is amazing. And every year it's even more and more. So it was a huge amount of people and amount of robbery that is happening in there. It's amazing. So I'm sure 100% that during the day of this most touristic place, they have unbelievable amount of open boxes that should not be open, amount of items that being stolen without even realizing that it's stolen, right? But I do feel that because I was just like, I'm just a calm, normal person walking, I'm not that much aggressive. They thought that I can do it. And they were like so surprised that I can say no. But I need to say I got the pleasure. I really got the pleasure, especially, she's like, joder, hablo español. And I was like, no. I mean, like, is there a rule that I should speak only Spanish in the shops? And if she speaks Spanish, I'm not asking her not to speak Spanish to me. I'm just like, I will switch. And she's like, habla español. And I'm like, no. She's like, oh, it's so bad. So, and also, like, I could gave to her so many arguments that if, as a customer, why am I going in the tourist place and they are not speak English? They're like, what is this? What is this? Then we're gonna say that, oh, it's a very touristic and very tourist friendly. But then I was like, okay. And I'm not even a tourist. I'm paying my taxes. I'm doing everything. So this is a little off topic about my little life in Spain, right? About my little conditions of how I live in Spain. And sometimes this really happened to me. That was one of the experience. Yeah, it was one of the million of experience. I have this huge amount of time. Like a lot of times in this, I will keep going with my leg in here. A lot of time I know that people people that I don't know, but they are giving to me this kind of, like in the centers of the centro comercial. A lot of times I'm hearing from them when they say, es que tú tienes que ir al final de la cola porque aquí en España funciona diferente. So I one discrimination story I will give to you is that, yeah, I was in the shop and I was just placed myself on the queue and the guy came. He was after me, other people appeared, and the guy just came to me and he was like, tú tienes que ir al final de la cola. So he just wanted me to give up my queue place, and he was like, tú tienes que ir al final de la cola. And I was like, why? And he was like, porque en España funciona así. I was like, what? What? Porque en España funciona así. Okay. Al final de la cola, vaya, porque... Okay. So I'm back now to my legs. And I'm trying to make it round, but I don't know how to do it properly. So I feel like it's from the position. Aha. Look, perfect, right? Oh yeah, a lot of, but I was surprised even with how calm I was yesterday to happen. It's like, oh my god, is it even normal? So I will finish this leg, and then I think I will go pick up some mandarina, bring in here for 3 seconds, because I feel like I want to eat. Yeah, but I know a lot of this kind of stories happen. Not to expats also, I believe. It's just maybe I'm more like more sensitive to it because I am an expat, and I'm like, is it normal? Okay, so this looks more, right? But I need to make it. I like this.